Whew, okay. Called back into the battleground, called back into the field of duty. Light warrior. So this person has commented this. I hope you're not into this. That would make me think that you're a bit silly in the head. It doesn't really look like that. It looks like you're saying, I think it is a good line of inquiry regarding the organic portal phenomenon. So then that's okay. So I am not the same. Saladin wrote, have you done any research into Egregores Tulpas Servitors? I think it is a good line of inquiry regarding the organic portal phenomenon. So again, I hope you're not trying to make people get into it. It doesn't really look like that, but just in case. So it looks like they're just in the way of saying that these things, like the egregores, for instance, could be definitely part of the dark nature we see of organic portals, and definitely tulpas as well. Tulpas to me are like some kind of like a baby, what you do when you're like baby spiritual, or I made that video, I think baby spirituality or something a while ago, about seances and just like being obsessed with the dark nature of like spirituality first. That, in my opinion, comes often first because the ego is so psycho. It thinks it can rule everything, and it's like, let's see these dark spirits and we'll rule them too. We'll whip their ass too. It's like the ego's thinking. So when you're first like spiritual, I swear that's the baby end of spirituality, like dark magic, seances, into creating yourself a tulpa, a servitor egregor stuff, that's, in my opinion, definitely all the baby end of spirituality, because when you become mature, you become much more like altruistic, light warrior, because you realize you're wasting your time in the darkness eventually. So that's the baby end of things. You should put some links to this in your comment. I said to this person, just interested to see if they have any really good, websites or something on it, more than just a quick, Google search. Tulpas are demons, you fool, I said. Also, egregores are like evil collectives, like the hive mind of the organic portals. And, these sort of clone demon armies. You are wasting your time in darkness, which you are allowed to do forever, but this is the baby end of the pool, I still feel. Why you want to tulpa? But then I realize, they're not really saying they want to tulpa. Or you just think thinking to add this in the context of organic portals. Thanks. Disregard what I said, as then aren't a fool. Okay. Sometimes I read these comments of yours pretty quickly, but on rereading it, I think they have good intentions with it, actually. Not like trying to get people into it or something. At first I thought maybe they're trying to, get people to research, to get into it. And I thought, on the second sentence, I think it is a good line of inquiry for organic portals. I think they're being neutral and they're not being like a dark person. So disregard what I said about, if you're a fool like dealing with them and you want to deal with them, I think that's foolish. Anyway, let's have a look at what Google spat out to me. Let's go from the top here, the tulpa. So there you go. Immediately, you see sort of dark ideas, basically. I don't know what that first one on the left shows, but they all look very, demonic, wasting time. Even the one on the right picture, just like the shadow being walking down the street, looks like it's distracting and wasting time. What sort of Gumby wears is that a helmet he's wearing while he's walking? That's what it looks like on this picture to the right. Anyway, right. Then I watched this video here. What is a tulpa? Tulpas explained in under 2 minutes, and his explanation is basically like an imaginary friend. And I guess people think they want to make them to like learn something. But I'm telling you, all three concepts, the egregor, tulpa, and servitors, are all demonic. And if you do something like that, you actually become in service to them. That's the trick, my friends. So you'll actually become in service to them, whether you realize it or not. In the tulpa, it seems like I would call it lower level. Less intense. It's not the boss at the end of the level, is it? A tulpa, it's more like one of the henchmen along the way, so it's not like a big deal kind of thing. But the thing is, these things can probably stick with you, and the more you give it attention, I think what a tulpa is a demon that actually the more you give it attention, what are you giving it, by the way? Remember what attention is? Where attention goes, energy flows. So it's just another demon sucking your energy. You see it? But I think what a tulpa is the more you pay attention to it, the more it grows and attaches to you. So it is not a good idea to be creating a tulpa. And tulpas are what attack us young, spirited humans. Tulpas attacked me when I was younger, for sure. Like the imaginary friend that wants to get you to do like all this fucked up shit. That's a tulpa. Do you see it? They're very mischievous demons, and demons are always mischievous. It's weird. It's like they've got like a cosmic. No. Forget the word cosmic. It's like they've got some kind of almost like an ego identity, and they can never progress beyond that. All demons. It's weird. And maybe we should go straight into the egregores. But I was going to say for the egregores, let's go into it. For the egregores, it's like a thought form or collective group mind, right? Like a group of demon or character. It's like the idea of the hive mind. Pardon me, just yawning, just waking up, wake up, just woking up. Yeah, I'm woking up. Okay, I'm just waking up, sorry. Okay, so I think the egregore here is like the hive mind of the species of organic portals. Look what it says here: an autonomous psychic entity made up of and influencing the thoughts of a group of people. That's definitely what the hive mind basically is. Collective group mind, a thought form. Thought forms are what many people call like entities in these higher dimensions, these vital realms. Pretty sure the vital realms are, the larger sort of universe, if you want to put it that way. And this third dimension is like and these, the 10-dimensional model, the Metatronic dimensional overlay, 10th dimensional Metatronic overlay is like creating the third dimension, which is like an eddy. Like an eddy in a current. That's why there's time here. Time in this universe, the way the time runs. 1 second to the next, like that, and just linear. And just how this time frame operates in this universe. Pardon me again, just yawning. From French, egregore, spirit of a group. From the ancient Greek substantive of egregores, wakeful, meaning watcher. Angel in the book of Enoch, but we know when angel is mentioned, it's kind of like demon. If you're not aware of how they used to talk a long, long time ago. And this is a good example of when the demon tries to become Jesus or an archangel and appear before you. Like they appear before you as like someone you're kind of, attached to, basically. And that can be easy sense. They just read your energy. It's in your thoughts. They can read that level of the mind. The compromised mind, or the third dimensional, fourth dimensional as well. Sorry for yawning. The third dimensional, fourth dimensional mind, the compromised mind, which you can, hear other shamans talk about. The compromised mind is, basically what they can read. It's also what they can read in gang stalking when they target you and you think you're being targeted by people in a van next to you or next door in the apartment next door reading your thoughts. And then you go talk to that guy and he has no idea what you're talking about and has not seemingly been consciously involved in his movements in the situational context you thought he was psychically reading you. Is because it's not him, it's the egregore inside him. Right? We always say it's the hive mind within the organic portal that is reading you. And it can only read what I've discovered. How did I discover this? I'll tell you after, I guess. It can only read... Sorry, sometimes I talk like Yoda. An egregore or a hive mind or whatever you want to call it all, can only read the compromised mind level. Like that's your physically manifest thoughts on your nervous system and in your light codes. What I've noticed though is they cannot read your higher telepathy. When you're, it's called the sound after the sound. It seems to be like beyond the barrier of some sort. I don't know, it's not physically held yet. Hard to explain all this stuff, but there's a part of your mind they can't read. There's a deeper part of our mind that they can't read. I've yet to correlate this dimensionally properly, to define this very definitively, but I know it's true from experience. So just because I can't absolutely perfectly define it doesn't mean I'm wrong. So what I'm saying is I've noticed that, it's not someone with a machine sitting next door reading your mind. It's entities within these organic portals, right? That's why everyone in the gang stalking movement, all the very third dimensional people who are being, pre-gang stalked basically before they even awaken, they are always like, oh, they're sitting there with like in the van across the street. That can happen, yeah. But that's not what's happening here with the psychic mind reading. I don't believe there is just a device. I know that there's material out there that says there's devices like this. So, at worst, there's those devices and these demons have basically taught them how to do this and physically manifest a machine which can pick up on electrical signal thoughts. That's what I'm trying to say. They cannot read the quantum mind. The quantum mind has... I think this is how to define it. I'm going to make a video, or I already have, and I have to edit it, called Organic Portal's Electric Mind versus the supercomputer multiple state computing mind, the photonic mind that we have, the soul spirited humans. And that's the part they can't read. They can't read the photonic quantum mind. Also, Stuart Hameroff, the co-director of Consciousness Institute, remember Stuart Hameroff, he has that theory of the soul being in the microtubules. Now, I've laughed at that before because it's not trapped there. This is only going to be an imprint of the soul, and this is the quantum mind. The microtubular level is below in magnitude, excuse me, below in magnitude of the neurons. So you have, 10 to the power of 4 neurons or whatever it is, and then you have the same in microtubules, a whole lot more, and it's like another layer of mind. And when you have these machines, all these entities that are mind-reading entities like this egregores, or mind-reading entities, mind-reading machines, these are only able to read the electrical surface mind, electrical brain thoughts, the fully physically manifest, captured, encapsulated thoughts. They cannot read the higher thoughts. You'll feel this in your mind. When you're in inner silence, when you're in inner silence and you're having those really high, little movement voice thoughts, it's like your higher self. They can't read that. I notice they don't read that. And I can tell how I know is from their behaviors. I can tell what part of my mind these organic portals have read when they implement a new rule or change something or, gang stalk me in a certain way. It's always accordingly to what I've basically physically told myself, or the electrical level of thought. When you, quote unquote, think out loud, but not speak it yet. When you think to yourself out loud and the voice is like stronger and more of an echo and in your head more, that's what they can read. The egregores, this entity type of group idea, demons, and that's what's happening through the hive mind of the organic portals. And then if there is any machines out there, physical mind reading machines, that's the same, that's all they can read. So that's the thinking out loud, but you haven't spoken it yet. Those thoughts, the electrical, clumpy, surface compromised mind, that's what they can read. So be careful what you let onto that part of your mind. That's also how they know, the organic portals know where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, because that's when you've fully emoted or emotionalized and fully manifested the thought. Then the thought is running around on your nervous system. So it's just easy for these entities or the machine, possibly two, to pick up. You understand? So there is a deeper recess of the mind, the quantum, I think, photonic, superconductive, super state mind, where they can't read that. Okay? Look at this. Egregores toroidal fields. It is the feeling or impression you get when walking into a neighborhood that feels different. Oh yeah. From the surrounding area, or when visiting a club or association that has been around for a long time. In an occult or magical context, a egregore is a general imprint that encircles a group entity. Yeah, all correct. I agree with all of that. Let's look into this one actually. Toroidalfields.com. The real meaning of egregore. The word egregore derives from Greek. Watchers, blah blah blah. Look at this. Egregore is a kind of group mind which is created when people consciously come together for a common purpose. I will say not remove the word consciously. It's when subconscious demonic activity aggregates or accretes or egregores, which basically means accretion. Accrete, aggregate, egregore, aggregate. Do you see it? That's again me seeing the Gnostic ring of the word, nothing to do with etymology. When a group of people pray and meditate collectively towards an objective, an egregore of protection and blessing is sent forth as a circle of light that shields and safeguards the purpose of the prayers. Well, oh, I have something to say on that. 1 second. Psychologically speaking, an egregore is that atmosphere or personality that develops among groups independent of any of its members. Yeah. And this is like a demon entity. This is not angelic behavior. That's why I was going to say it. This is not a good paragraph, because it makes you think that it's good and of the light, so to speak. But this is the fake light, those fake woke people that think when they're doing light work to control that they're doing something good. And it's not. It's the fake light grid. These are the fake woke. These are servants of demons, these people. And they present as light workers, as new age people. That's what they present as. I'm telling you. That's why it's no good to be group collective. It isn't good. You lose yourself. And then this sort of stuff happens. You get, entities. And it says here of protection and blessing. So maybe, perhaps, positive. But the way I see it is they always turn negative. Maybe absolute power absolutely corrupts. You could bring in... Hold on 1 second. What are you doing? Oh God. Sorry, I had to check on the cat. The mischievous Oro. He has a lot of fun, this cat. Yeah, I don't know about putting egregore in a positive light. To me, that feels wrong. It feels wrong without what I've just talked about. And it seems to me that they always turn bad. And safeguards the purpose of the prayers sounds way too unsubstantiated in a fashion of what the hell do you actually mean? What is a prayer? Who are you praying to? We've talked about all this. The being guarding this universe as a god is the god of the organic portals, not my god. I don't have a god. I am an eternal spirit myself. That's what we are saying. Us soul humans in this, spiritless humans movement, us spirited humans, we're eternal spirits. Like they say God is an eternal spirit. I'm also an eternal spirit. What this place is called a matrix, and it's resided over by your God. And I'm telling you, all these light being people like this, they've got so much regions of unconsciousness that they're actually operating in the dark. All they do is they collect information on a surface level at best, and all they seem to do is, attach to the word of light. And none of them, not one of them, has a great work, a single person that I've met in the New Age movement. None of them had a magnus opus focus. You think, oh, they're channeling, Ben. Yeah, it's like a mini great work, the channelings, but I don't want to say most of them, but half of them, so many of them are, again, this same fashion of an overlay of you think it's good and it's light, but it's actually demons, and it's actually what I see as this word now, egregore, in the background, moving through hundreds of thousands of different people or bodies. And these are the fake woke, I'm telling you. Look at this. In an occult or magical context, an egregore is a general imprint that encircles a group entity. Summary of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energies generated by two or more people vibrating together. Well, it's possible it could be a positive thing as well, because, there is negative and positive. But it seems to me that almost every time it ends up bad. an egregore. So that's just what I see out in the world. It always goes to an over-stabilization, and over-stabilization is organic portal territory. I've called them, the organic portals, the stabilization functionality of any given species morphogenetic field. So is progression your friend, or is stasis? What does a demon want? A demon wants stasis. Demons want stasis. Why? Because all egregores, all demons, even the little nincompoop tulpa, the little retarded nincompoop tulpa spirit, they all want control over you, because they're trying to be like God. They're all like little God things trying to be God, basically. They're trying to be God. They're trying to, and what this is all these egregores, demons, group demons, all of this, all these group demons, the demons, they're all seeking to be God over another. That's why they love inhabiting the organic portal empty body, because they get to control. That's what they're seeking. They realize, oh, God has such a control on this place. I want to be like that. They become, enraged with wanting that lust for control, and this is family of dark behavior. Using your will over another, or you wanting to control another person, is family of dark. The vast majority of human beings, both incarnated and disincarnated, are in one way or form connected to an egregore. Yeah, most definitely in here, in this matrix. An egregore, or astral group mind, can be either negative or positive. Yeah, you're probably right on that. It's probably not just negative, but I see it always just ending so negatively. Not always, like just a huge percentage of the time. Therefore, I don't mess around with it. Okay? So yeah, sure, go have fun, do whatever you want, but see, that's not me being family of dark, or I'd be saying, oh, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying you probably shouldn't, but if you want to, okay. So yeah, they're probably able to be positive too. I think I see that as well. Like when you have, I do see that as well. It just seems far less common. Because the light is more powerful, it seems that there's less of us, right? And it's funny, this is mirrored exactly in the organic portals, us versus them as well. There's more of them. It's the way the dark always needs to work, because it's less complex. Each node of the dark people, each dark person's less complex than a light node, or a complexity knot like myself. That's what we are. Proper light beings are complexity knots, because light concresses, because we are in some kind of universe of a returning resolution. That's why light's concressing like this, guys. Yeah, look, most of the connections with negative egregore come from negative contracts made with physical or astral entities in exchange for power. Yeah, definitely. Fame or material goods. Most definitely. And then you become, you don't have a servitor forever. You become the servitor, is what they say. Right? People say, you serve that demon for 1,000 lifetimes. So you get one lifetime, but then you serve them in some other fashion or astral domain or something as a servitor for maybe 1,000 lifetimes. So be careful with it. Also, some of these contracts or pacts can come from emotional persecutions, which at some point was born of the intent to keep the victim under its dominion. See? About control. To the extent of various earthly and parallel lifetimes. Yes. I see this too. Agreed. Even with the last sentence there. To the extent of various earthly and parallel lifetimes. What some people might call reincarnations. Look, I don't reincarnate as Benjamin Kauenberg ever again. That's organic portals. They move very slowly. They are the incarnative mass. We are eternal spirits who seem to just come here and leave. Very interesting. Yeah, some of these connections can also be activated through vices, addictions, and unruled sexual activities. Yeah, definitely. So you can get connected to an egregore. Like this is one reason you should not have sex with organic portals. You might become connected to an egregore. Now I say, that lightly, you should not, because it's still a learning experience. And for us who are conscious, and spirit endures, we seem to endure the context and come out in the end, right? But I still don't think it's great advice to say, yeah, go nuts with it. Have sex with a lot of organic portals, because you'll just be demon infested, basically. You get tulpas and egregores all over you. Is that what you really want? Because that's massive distraction, Okay, let's see. When a soul gets committed to these types of obscure energies, there is always the tendency to lose vital energy, which can result in the compromise of the monadic essence. Yes. The compromise of the monadic essence, I would say to you, is like the compromise of your spirit. How they call God a monad, and I just said I am also my own monad, my own spirit. That's what the organic portals are not. Okay? They're spiritless humans. They're only part of this sort of 2D or multi-dimensional. It could be a 4D egregore soul, if you want to call it a soul group. Right? I always say they're part of a 2D group soul, but now we can also say like they're part of a fourth dimensional egregore entity group as well, and these hive mind activities. Oh, here we go. In general, the dominion of the negative egregore is reaffirmed through artificial implants. Yes, this is what I said in a video a while ago, that the robotic portals put in implants like listening devices, energy sucking devices into dumbass organic portals that don't know the difference, who carry around the implant. For me, if they try implant that on me, I feel it, I go ground, I go to the beach, and it gets it off me completely if I do a thorough enough job. The beach is fantastic because of the sound of the ocean as well, and these implants are vibratory implants, frequency based. Do you see? So you go to the ocean, my friend, be reborn. The proper Christing is when you enter the ocean, by the way. I've said that before. You'll activate the Christ light body just by walking into the ocean. That's the proper baptism. What are you doing, Christianity? You're not even doing baptism correctly. Little bit of water on the forehead. Ain't going to get rid of no implants. Ain't going to get rid of any egregores or tulpas. I'll tell you what. That baby is just no better off for the tiny bit of holy water on its head. They need to be dipped in the ocean, the Mother Earth's womb, full revibratory sensation, you see? Immersed in higher frequency, negative charge, the sound of the ocean, the wind, all of it. That's the proper baptism, which can be of a variety of forms, these implants. By moulding of the astral matter, well, yeah, frequency-based implants, yeah, they mould the astral matter. That's right. They are and functions more or less as thought forms, as holographic projections that may or may not solidify inside of the etheric bodies. Now, when it says here solidify, if you're going to let the egregore mind, group mind, basically solidify as your mind, where it becomes the electrical mind, it's going to be trapped on these people's nervous systems, and that's how they are, taken. That's what I call them. I say their mind is taken. They are the taken, these organic portals. If they are part of the egregore, which it seems at will, of the egregore they are, right? Suddenly, the person you were talking to turns into a matrix agent. That's this type of activity that I just talked about in the last sentence. Yeah. Says here they feed off your vital energies via these devices and implants. Yep. Like I said, they can put a sucking device in you and the organic portal. Robotic portals are the matrix agents. Remember, they go around like sort of not consciously doing this as a person, like as a personality like Greg or Bob, but as their egregore coming through them. Or Servitor or Tulpa, whatever it is coming through them. I don't think Tulpas can even really do any of this. They don't seem to be the ones doing this sort of implant activity. They're like working on the basic individual thought level, the Tulpas, and like kind of like a friend to make you think you have a friend, and so you give yourself over that way. It's less forced. Egregore action seems more forced with the implants and so on. So saying multiple lifetime implants. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true too. I feel that. I felt that in myself. You activate an implant, but then the idea is, to become conscious of it and move past it. And these implants, they stick you down to the ego. They stick you to the ego, the compromised ego, which is really a conglomerate of all this stuff. The way it's gotten out of control, the way we all, want to get rid of it and all that. The good part of the ego, or the neutral part, is how you know whose mouth to put the spoon in at night, who to feed. But there's a lot of, it's like 99% the ego's corruption. It's like a surface bias corruption, most of it now. At a neutral sense, it's the seed point of sovereignty. How you know to feed your physical body. That's a neutral sense, essentially. Right? It's still, well, in a finite system, and that's why they have us trapped in a finite system on a finite planet, in a scarcity-based system in an abundant universe. Because within a scarcity-based finite system, the ego has to take energy from another. This is the satanic, also Saturnalia type of activity. Yes, the Saturn moon matrix I was talking about. The Saturn or Saturn frequency. Weak emotions and feelings tend to create unidentified egregore. Yeah, this is what I was saying about those light workers, how they're all very weak-minded. They may even have good intentions. Listen very carefully, because it's very true. They may even have good intentions and be like good people, unconsciously, not knowing it, working for a negative egregore in disguise as some kind of light being or group of light, It's very interesting. The opposite is also true. Big circles are created by strong will, emotions, and determination of purpose. What does he mean by big circles? Not sure what that little sentence means there. Is he saying the opposite's also true, that with strong emotions you create a stronger egregore? Or is he saying the opposite, that's how you get out of it. I don't see what he means with big circles for sure there. Anyway, there is a good egregore that are positive and that bring blessings, good energies, and protection against negative vibrations. Yeah, that's like the eighth dimensional good beings, like the Octurians that I had my spirit contact with. You can read about my experience. That caused me to create consciousazine.net. And I think we can all agree that consciousazine.net is like not a negative demonic thing. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to bring and shed light. I'm trying to figure things out and so on. I'm not causing disarray, confusion, blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing dark side work, really. So yeah, these positive egregores would be like, I guess, these group souls, ideas and feelings that I had with the Octurian group. That's how it felt too, like a positive egregore. So I even wrote that. That was like 10 years ago almost, like about 8 years ago that experience happened in 2011. So it's like 9 years ago. But, that was a wholly positive experience. You can read about my little experience there in consciousazine.net on the Spirit World page. If you scroll down to the double section on the left-hand column, the first post, with the purple picture, it looks like Octurian Andromedan energy beings. Apparently Ariel Ali, who drew that picture, which looked exactly like my vision, by the way, exactly. He says they're Octurians, but I think they're actually Andromedans. And it is currently the Andromedan galaxy enlightenment, our twin feminine galaxy to the masculine Milky Way, and via the Octurian star alignment, which has to do with technology, by the way. All algorithmic nature is Octurian. Now, it can seem almost demonic, but it's neutral. Remember, it's neutral. Don't forget that. Because people might come to me and try and say that I'm working with demons when they don't understand the positive nature of them or neutral nature and how it gets twisted into the world. And for instance, technology can be used by dark people in a negative sense. That doesn't mean all technology is bad. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, right, here we go. An egregore can be personal or collective. The egregore of the Umbra is comprised of souls that were negativated by the bodies of desires. Negative desire, okay? They are adepts of vices, drugs, and all sorts of unnatural sets of behaviors, okay, that are not characteristic of the spiritually enhanced human being. Yeah, see, it's really a part that you walk through. You can't avoid walking through it. That's why I called it more the baby end of the spiritual pool. They are the ones that vibrate and maintain the negative collective egregore. See, I don't vibrate that, right? I do not vibrate that. I think you all see that. A person psychically, a person psychically balanced and with positive thoughts creates a very positive, prosperous and luminous personal egregore. The same can be said of the opposite behavior. The only way that one can be rid of a negative egregore is to affiliate with a stronger positive one. Yeah, I feel that. It's interesting. Very interesting. Definitely part of this matrix, huh? Okay, anyway, the umbra, Latin for shadow, okay, is the darkest part of the shadow where the light source is completely blocked by the occluding body. An observer in the umbra experiences a total eclipse. The egregore of the umbra is comprised of souls that were negativated by the bodies of desires. Now, this is like the deepest region of unconscious. And that's what I was talking about. Even some of these light workers, they have this. This is what I was talking about. The umbra spot. The umbra, Latin for like the darkest part of, unconscious, where you can't see, basically. Yeah, okay, very interesting. I guess let's continue. How big is this? I can't see the scroller. The concept about thought forms in egregores, the human consciousness is both receiver and generator of the energy informational signal. When we're thinking about something, our consciousness builds the energy informational structures. The frequency of these structures, the involved chakra, depends from the solving task. If man recalls something and commits to emotions, then his anahata chakra works. If man thinks about any everyday themes, then his thought forms are constructed on Vishuddha chakra. If man considers any abstract themes, for example, is occupied with theoretical mathematics or reflects about the world's structure, then such thought form is already constructed on Ajna chakra. And if the person is getting ready by his consciousness for any processes of a planetary scale on which the variety of people is adjusted, then Sahasrara chakra is involved. Interesting. If a few people think the same thoughts, hold on, whoa. Sorry, my cat is climbing on me. Hear him? I forgot, is this the base chakra? No, that's the Madhukura. Oh, why are we in Spanish? Come on. Crown. Oh, whoops. Totally forgot. Yeah, right. Crown, okay. If a few people think the same thoughts, then thought forms produced by their consciousness will be overlapped and will begin to strengthen each other. So yeah, that's how we can do collective positive meditations. Just interesting. Earlier I said that be careful with that because it can be overstabilization, and it always seems to be the case of how organic portals come into spirited movements and overstabilize it and ruin it, which is part of the process of creation, right? You have a spirited movement. You want to download it into creation, basically. So you need to do some sort of stabilization. I've talked about this before, the hive mind as a stabilization function gone out of control, or the central computer of our species as a stabilization function of the human species morphogenetic field out of control is the problem. It's not the problem, just the stabilization, because in a universe where the only constant is change, obviously you need stabilization functionality. So with this whole group meditation stuff, it's just got to be, you got to be careful with it, because it can easily trek into stagnation, and basically negative energy, and past and negative egregore, essentially, you see. And that's how the negative egregore even accretes and egregores, or aggregates. Moreover, these thought forms will start to capture nearby people with the similar parameters of consciousness. Well, there we have it, my friends. That's how the organic portals appear. Am I correct or not? Like the video, please. You see this? Moreover, these thought forms will start to capture nearby people. Remember, I've said that the organic portals, they have that, you'll feel like a rumbling on your brain sometimes when they're trying to penetrate. Like on the movie Star Wars, where the dark side Siths look into their mind, and they start rumbling, and the Jedi gets in pain. They're stealing the thoughts. A very similar idea here. The thought forms will start to capture nearby people. That's indeed how it works, because our process of creation is down-dimensional. The lower dimensions are subject to the higher dimension. Unless you have a cosmic qualified ego like myself, where you are like cosmically aware at the ego level, it's called the qualified ego. Then you can be aware to the point that, oh, what is this haze? Like me, I feel this. What is this thought form cloud? Because it feels like a cloud coming over you. Moreover, these thought forms will start to capture, like a cloud, you'll feel this, a cloud of energy. And when you tune into the cloud, you start to see the vision, and you get the telepathic light stream. So after you tune into it, you'll see and you'll hear, basically. So thought forms will start to capture nearby people with the similar parameters of consciousness. What that means is the similar parameters of physical brain. Stop it! So, are you listening? Stop. Nearby people with the similar please. Stop it. He's like humping my chest. Pussy. Sorry. Oro was like humping my chest. He's getting horny. He was giving me a massage. Anyway, so these thought forms and this cloud, will come over you. People with similar parameters of consciousness. Parameters. That's something I learned in coding. I'd done 8 years of university, and I did, at the end, 16 subjects of IT, or information technology. A lot of them were programming, so from HTML5 to Adobe Flash and JavaScript. So in other words, I learnt the parameters idea there in coding. What do we always talk about? We say that organic portals, soulless humans, they're running off a script. So the people of similar parameters immediately get absorbed by this thought form egregore cloud, whether negative or positive. You see it? It's like an astral cloud. And think of it like this. It's like a cloud, and you have, let's pretend, you have a cloud and you have people. You have 10 people of different configuration. Let's say I'm one of them and I don't have the correct configuration. This certain egregore cloud or thought form cloud, astral cloud, cannot capture me. I can read it, but it won't capture me because I'm not running off script, and I'm an eternal spirit with my own full, minded nature, it seems. And they are running just off the script, just off the unconscious functions. So imagine it like it can just lower down into them, into their body, just like you would think of a spirit inhabiting a person's body. So this cloud can calibrate after it's stuck. But first, what I'm talking about is imagine it coming down onto the bodies, 10 bodies as a cloud. I can read it. The other 9 people, let's pretend they're organic portals, and all that happens with them is that it basically accretes them. It basically slots in like a coin in a slot, but think of it informationally in code sense, like the DNA, I guess, on a DNA level, and so on, like that, on all these sorts of levels, like the DNA level. This is a good way to think about it. It's sort of the cloud of the egregore will, this astral cloud will come down, and if it can fit in to a slot, like a circle, like when you go to the doctor's office when you're a kid and they have that little 4-piece set. Here, play with the rectangle, the triangle, the square and the circle, and the square does not fit into the circle slot. The circle doesn't fit into the square slot. The triangle doesn't fit into the square. You know, that little set that they give toddlers at the doctor's office. I remember I used to play, well, not really play with it, but see it and go, why would I play with that? That's for retarded organic portal kids. Oh, square don't fit into circle. Ah, do you see the difference? I was never a stupid child. I was always looking at stuff like that going, are you patronizing me? How would I not immediately see that this shape is not the same shape as the other shape? And therefore that shape will not fit into the whole of the other shape. The circle will not fit into the square. The triangle won't go into the circle slot. It's like, those sorts of things, they're just made for organic portals. Organic portal kids are stupid kids. They're not like me. I was always very minded, very of my own opinion, of my own mind as well. They're not like that, the organic portals. That's who these toys are made for. Sorry, but to me that seems retarded. I can immediately see, without even having to touch the playset, that the circle won't go into the square because it looks different. Sure, I might test it and go, are they trying to trick me? Or I'll just test it and go, yep, well, told you so, doesn't fit. But that's why I've got another video coming up. Organic portals patronize kids. They think kids are stupid because they're stupid. Just like how they abuse animals because they think animals are unconscious because they are unconscious. Anyway, so with this cloud thing, think of it like a cloud, like settling down and resting on a group of people. And then, if it can fit in the slot, it'll fit in their slot. Like for me, I don't have those slots open. You might think of it like that. Or I've conquered that slot and I'm aware of it, and so it has no hold over me. And that's why it does have a hold over them. These egregores, these negative entity demon groups have a hold over these organic portals for that reason. Because they're only the code. They don't have like a higher coding like we have. Us eternal spirits have like a higher level of coding, and that's not being arrogant because there are higher and lower levels of code. For instance, a function says to do something, but then you connect multiple functions when you're coding a program. Do you understand? So, and then you put in something called a struct. And a struct is a high level code because it goes over multiple pages that you just coded. So you start at the basic level of, exchanging parameters, right? Parameters, here it says on the screen. You exchange parameters or arguments via functions in your code. So you write a whole page out. You say, I want, function 1, I want object A to do movement A. And then, you write all these other functions. You get something on the Adobe Flash screen, like a little man to jump on the screen. That's what your functions end up doing. Maybe it takes, 5 different functions to make him jump how you want him to jump. And then you've written a page of code. Well done. And then you get like this, you move up in the levels, like you realize that you can change multiple functions at once with a struct argument, for instance, comes into play and that sort of level. So what I'm saying with us eternal soul people like me, the spirited humans, we have a higher level of code apparently, and I think this would be, seems very obvious, exactly relatable to the id and the light body, which is not what they have. They do not have light body. They're only the ego coding, only the scripting, and that's a very unconscious state of being. And that's why I'm saying they're so susceptible to this astral cloud or thought form that capture nearby people with the similar parameters of consciousness. And that's why all these organic portals out there all seem to be acting the same. And when I say surface virus, it's still multidimensional Metatronic in a Metatronic overlay sense, not just third or second dimensional. That's the core of the surface virus. I'm going to talk about that more and more as we go. But the surface virus to me is, even the fourth dimension has a type of physicality. Beyond the fifth dimension is complete intangible. right? The six-dimensional geometric archetype domain does not have any tangibility. The fifth dimension is the unified living field, so that still has a type of tangibility. The unified field idea, or Planck length probably. So what I'm saying, to reiterate, is the organic portal is very susceptible to parameter change. Thought forms will start to capture nearby people with the similar parameters of consciousness. And what they've left out is that what I just said, the organic portals are susceptible to that parameter change. And actually, like I said before, once the cloud is downloaded into you and the egregore is really stuck to you, you might think of it like that, then they can calibrate you. Now, it's harder for them to do that to me because I'm so conscious, right? And the organic portal is so unconscious that it's easy for them to have that done to them. They are not multidimensionally aware. They don't even observe they're observing, right? So the organic portals are completely susceptible to parameter change by egregore thought form clouds that capture multiple people. Yeah, we observe this effect in stadiums, blah, blah, blah. Got to do with duality and all that too. Here we have an example when the collective consciousness, the united thought form, and this is what I was talking about before with being careful of even the positive egregore like mass meditations. You see it? Suppresses the individual consciousness. And that's what I was going on about. So this is what we have in the world today as a surface virus problem. The group suppressing the individual consciousness, and this is bad because it can be bad and it has become bad or not good or negative for creation because, or uncreation or overstabilization, because, and a cross current, right? A cross current to the forward conscious flow, because ultimately in any system anywhere, a change occurs via one individual in the system initially, undergoing some phase state change of some sort. Then group decisions come later. So if we put the group up above reality and how it works, that in any system anywhere, ultimately one node brings in the novelty change and group decisions are made later. So if we put a group above this in a over-controlling fashion, which we're doing with this techno-dystopic social credit score system world that we're moving into, electronic money, all that, the social credit score system and very much the group collective over the individualization consciousness is the world we're moving into. And you're going to see what I'm saying right here, why that's so bad. We're going to stop novelty. It's like we're stopping the universe. So here, I don't want to read this whole thing. Every chakra operates its own type of consciousness. So that's a point I wanted to just expand on quickly. Remember, the organic portals don't have the upper chakras active, or the upper Merkaba triangle. The Sahasrara operates a consciousness super I. Yeah, it's very id relative, or id, the steward of the light body, relative. Yeah, which is based on the mental body instead of the brain's hemispheres. And the id, right? The id, mental body. The consciousness super I, or sounds like the super ego or the id, exists in intervals between the incarnations of personality when physical body with the brain is absent. Yeah, definitely. We're spirits up there flying around somewhere, and that's what the organic portals do not have. Now, there's obviously also a transition zone. If an OP is awakening to accept fourth dimensional feeling body, they'll be going through dark spirituality a lot. They'll be all up in Tulpas Egregores and seances and stuff like this. That's the initial awakening. That's why I call it the baby end of the pool. So what I'm saying is there might be, because a few people have said to me, oh, like in psychedelic trips, they think that they're organic portals, but they're very aware. Now, it could be a negative soul, though, that you're dealing with. Excuse me. It could be a negative soul that you're dealing with, and that's why they seem so aware and stuff. So really, I don't even think you're dealing with organic portals when you say that. They say they're hive-minded even. They'll admit it to you during the ayahuasca trip and stuff like this. I believe you're dealing with a negative soul, which is, I've said before, very much like an organic portal. So that's essentially what I really mean there by the transition zone. And true organic portals do not have id or light body or super eye or crown chakra active. So you must be dealing with a negative soul. The person who wrote that under one of my videos. This is a good website. It was toroidalfields.com. Thanks guys at this website. This is what I said about, moving into a more mature spirituality of like altruism. And the reference to the supreme forces, the tuning, supreme forces, right? All these demons, they're trying to be that because they see the supreme force has such control. The tuning on the planetary consciousness occurs on the frequency of crown chakra, which is called the divine mental. Yeah, that's like what I was talking about. That's when you become more mature, spiritual person, and you're positive soul vector. You're a vector then, you see. Remember the little note above the picture from Veil of Reality article on organic portals says soul potential. That's the entropical opened nature. That's where negative souls play. They're not yet a vector. They're in the entropical field playing around, and that's fine. The energy informational formations on the frequency of the Sahasrara chakra are called egregores. Egregore can be created only by the group of persons co-tuned with each other on some idea. Yeah, okay. Got to be careful with this egregore stuff. The co-tuning of people on the idea from the human mental on the Vishuddha chakra will create not the egregore but a collective thought form. The throat, yeah. Alright, so the throat chakra will not create an egregore but a collective thought form. So the egregore only gets created on the crown chakra level. Yes, but still unconsciously. Right, when I say that the organic portal does not have these crown chakras active, they're not there as their own spirit consciously. It's only can be used unconsciously like this, in this context, like it can create a egregore, but they're not doing that consciously. It may seem like it, but that's basically the egregore within that you're sensing. as the organic portal, the lowest and most pure idea of organic portal is the 2D completely unconscious organic portal person with no chakras active, no esoteric awareness, very much the body lifestyle. Only at best do they make it to a lame flatline ego perspective where they just want to eat shit, go to work, and they're happy with that life. They're only in that 2D circular motion. That's the purest idea of organic portal. Anyway. Indifference from the thought form being the energy informational structure. So, let's go back for a minute. Egregore can only be created from the co-tuned people on the Sahasrara or crown chakra level, which is very interesting. You'll get a lot of negative souls playing there. Because when you're a positive soul like me, you're not really too fussed with the collective, because you're so focused on bringing in your great work. See, I'm just so focused on this every day, and it's very difficult to focus my magnus opus, my body of work that I'm going to leave, my novelty entrance into this habitual domain, so on and so forth, my magnus opus. They're not doing that. So they have all the time in the world to act on a collective level and create endless collective egregores. I'm not doing that. I'm not interested in that at all. To me, that's a waste of my time as me, as a unitary life, sentient entity, moreover, an eternal spirit. This is the best language I can come up with for now, guys. As the channel evolves, maybe our language should evolve with it. Seems to be so far. Because now I'm going to use this language or moniker of Egregore in full understanding in further videos. Hence, subscribe. Egregore is the energy informational organism of the or inorganic being of the higher order than individual consciousness, called an organism of the third level. Oh God, don't know what he's talking about with third level. It's the energy informational organism formed by a set of human consciousnesses co-tuned on the same idea, the identical parameters of consciousness. Yes, that's the way to say it. They're connecting their functions via using the same parameters, right? So it's on a parameter level, like I mentioned earlier with the cloud thing, capturing multiple people. Yeah, it's a really good idea if you want to understand reality, not only to learn English, but you should learn programming, coding, because it's an exact simulacrum of how reality is. Reality is coded. So when you learn coding and programming, you learn how reality operates. You see it way better. Like how I'm talking about parameters and functions and structs. This is probably all completely unknown to some people who have never done programming. You're probably not 100% sure, like in the way that I can see this in my mind, you probably can't see how this is operating. So, I apologize for that, but that's your fault. You need to learn it. The appearance of egregore is connected with the formation of own terminology, language. For example, egregore of medicine, egregore of physics, egregore of some religion. The appearance of egregore is connected with the formation of own terminology. Oh yeah, yep, okay, got it. Yeah, the egregores are connected with the formation of own terminology. It's just the same level of they're using the same parameters, using the same language. It's like when you talk to a physics teacher, you're not going to be talking with spiritual language. They're going to say, oh, that's spiritual mumbo jumbo. And you'll say back to them, oh, you're talking in physics mumbo jumbo. Right? Tensor equations is mumbo jumbo to me. I'm not going to navigate my experience with tensor equations. It's just not going to happen. What a weird way to navigate my experience. I mean, weird in a stupid context, you know? Just doesn't make sense. And it's very lifeless and very monotone. And you see that now? Formation of own terminology. And that these organic portals, they stick to that. They never trek outside the terminology of their subject field. That's why I made the video months and months ago. You see it? Organic portals are their roles. Do you see it now? They are their roles. If they're a firefighter, they're a firefighter and they act like a firefighter. If they're a physics person and scientist, like they're just so wholly that and only that. I'm the shaman. The shaman is the completed human who walks across all grids. Physics is a grid of experience. Medicine, a grid of experience. Religion, a grid, a sixth-dimensional grid of experience. Being a surfer archetype, being a skater, these are grids of experience. The end of history, the idea is to shift the energy out of the grids. We've gone from, we're trekking into maximum novelty domain. This is my domain of the shaman, cross-grid walking, jack of all trades, that type of thing. This is the opposite of how the organic portals are. They're those people who are like so happy to have the 50-year lifelong career. These days we have, 10, 20 different jobs in our life. You see it? Because we've entered maximum novelty domain. This is also another reason I think it's the organic portals apocalypse. That doesn't mean negative soul humans apocalypse. It doesn't mean there's going to stop being demonic activity on Earth. It doesn't mean stopping of egregores or tulpas or anything, or servitors. No, because negative soul humans still play around with that shit. You see, all it means is organic portal apocalypse means organic portal apocalypse, like the very basic previous platform of hominid creation. And I see it also in as far as we are Homo Cosmic Ecstaticus. I mean, this is a downloaded form. The highest form of talking about this stuff is that I'm an eternal spirit and they are part of the organic portal immortal soul, which, yes, becomes physically manifest as the Borg that will actually appear. The Borg from Star Trek will manifest physically. And that's what they are now in a human platform creation hominid body sense, the organic portals. And that's the apocalypse for them. Oh, jeez, what a mouthful. Bam. Shit. Okay. For the formation of egregore, the co-tuning of human consciousness on such parameters as canon goal ideology is necessary with a huge amount of energy put into the initial idea. Canon goal ideology. Don't really understand that. Okay. In the minimal volume, the formation of egregore or of pair, man and woman, is possible. So that's like possibly twin flame area here. Karmic's twin flames, this whole idea is possible, which is used in Tantra. Ah, yes, and then you can get very dark Tantra. Interesting. The formation of egregore or of pair. Yeah. If pair is harmonious, co-tuned on the parameters of consciousness, and has the high position of the assemblage point. Oh, they mentioned the assemblage point. Like Don Juan, that shaman out of Carlos Castaneda's reading Activate Infinity or Activate Potential. Interesting. Just taking a breath. Oh, I've got to get up and eat something in a minute too. Let's stay on the frequency of eating light for now, though. Okay. If pair is harmonious, co-tuned on the parameters of consciousness, so to speak, on the parameters of script, of sense stored electrical waves, I will replace the word consciousness with there. I've talked about this before. People are using the word consciousness incorrectly as sense stored electrical waves. Sense stored electrical waves are not necessarily conscious of themselves. And this is the electrical mind of the organic portal. Hence how I always say they're unconscious. Because sense stored electrical waves are not conscious of themselves. There you go. I just changed the world, but probably nobody will notice. Because you always see people using the word consciousness when they should be writing sense stored electrical waves, but hey, that would stuff up the sentence. So you're just going to have to be aware of this. If pair is harmonious, co-tuned on the same parameters and has the high position of the assemblage point, providing the necessary amount of energy on the top chakras, then during the intimacy, sexual energy is accelerated through the united energy structure of pair and the egregor of pair is forming. Yes, but this can be a very positive idea. Oh my God, I just realized this is my idea that came to me of, I called it a hyperspatial ball. I said to my girlfriend, I want to be like so connected to you, I want to create like a hyperspatial ball. So, is this bad? Well, in a sense, when you join with something else, you lose part of yourself. That's even in coincidentia oppositorum, which is how this universe works. So it's just how this place works. But in another sense, you create a new, almost higher thing. Right? That's the whole idea with coincidentia oppositorum. It can be two opposites, but I just say it's two things coming together. It can even be glow-in-the-dark toilet paper. So now you can see what you're doing with that toilet paper. That's the exact example I gave on my subdomain explicated noveltydom website in Consciousing, one of the subdomains. I have a picture of essence concrescence at the end of history, and I put the glow-in-the-dark toilet paper. That was my chosen agent of expression. So yeah, with the coincidentia oppositorum, the two parts lose some parts, but they form a seemingly better, in a way, if you don't want to attach that word to it, I could see some people having problem with me attaching that word to it, but they form a new higher thing. That's what a coincidentia oppositorum is, and that's why the universe, works like this, to keep moving on, creating more, creating stronger. So, this is in a positive sense. It just depends if, you're doing it like darkly or not, right? In the end, it comes down to, are you still being a positive soul vector? Then, hey, more power to you. Connecting, with another person, two minds are stronger than one, you might say. And this is the sense of, a positive egregore. Okay, egregores that is called collective consciousness by the modern science, essentially. Yes, for example, migratory birds also have it. And that's where the idea of the morphogenetic field sprung from. Rupert Sheldrake's first example I ever heard of morphogenetic field was, how you see birds fly in unison, like they've got some magical field surrounding them. And what I've said with organic portals is they're using the corrupted central computer or the corrupted hive mind state, which is filled with Tulpas, Egregores, and Servitors. They create a flight and are going to flight only when the certain quantity of individuals is presented. It's enough to remove some individuals from the flight, and birds will not depart anywhere. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a critical mass point there. Interesting. This is also what I've had an idea, guys. Oh, God. Like when I mentioned demons as, what was it? The Organic Portals, Demons, Dimensions video. Yeah, that's what I titled the video, Organic Portals, Demons, and Dimensions. So look for that video. I've already published that a month or two ago. This is what I meant by the creation of these demons, like from third dimensionally up, not down. That there are critical mass energetic points, and it's almost like, right, so it's like, you know, the egregore downloads itself into parameters of the organic portals, body and ego construct, then it re-uploads to create like a little demon. Okay, so now do you get it? Very interesting. So there is a critical mass point of energy where they can also create a egregore. Like we've just sort of gone through that in the last example in a positive sense, in almost like it's a pair of egregore, or like almost a twin flame sense, like in a positive sense. Yeah. See, things are not so black and white because everything has, you know, positive and negative in its own field. So you can be talking of like twin flames in a positive or negative sense, but in my opinion, I still overall, in a full overall sense, see it as not a good thing. Well, see, it's like I can't say that. It's neutral, but here's what I mean. Like, you're losing yourself, and in that you become less, I feel, less spirited. Okay, so that's what I mean in an overall negative sense to do with twin flames, and also the idea is essentially you're a half soul looking for another half soul, and I just can't gel with that. See, when they create a pair or a light ball, I think I am that already as an eternal spirit, you see. So when I said to my girlfriend like years ago, oh, I want to create a hyperspatial ball and connect with you, it's a lovely notion, very lovely notion, getting as close as we possibly can. That's how this happens. You've got to meld your consciousness, but then you're melding it, and in some way I feel losing it. Anyway, and you'll see this play out in your life, so anyway. Okay, exactly in the egregore of a form, the information how the animal of the given form should look and behave is stored. So that also goes with what I said about, you know, a little demon popping up out of like a person dimensionally, and also, you know, via it first being kind of downloaded to create in the organic portal, then kind of uploaded back up as a fourth dimensional entity or demon or something. So very interesting. And you know, there's a video I'm going to do soon called, I think Plato or Socrates said, demon is character. And this would be third dimensional ego character relative. And what I just said about the uploading from third to fourth dimension, creation of like a little demon. And that you can do this on the egregore level if you have multiple people doing this. And this is what the organic portals are doing on the level of the elites. Right? This is well-known conspiracy that the elites are all working for like a large demon. That's like a large egregore, a very powerful one. Okay, anyway, so what else I was going to say with that was, oh yeah, there's this idea of the animal totem that you can, and you know, shamans like me can see. I can look at you and say, oh, you look like an ostrich. It's not your physical body. Sometimes though, sometimes it becomes very pronounced depending on how much of that animal group soul they are pronouncing. So they might look like a giraffe, literally have a longer neck on their physical body. And that might be the correlation for me. But the thing is, I'll see an energy structure. I'll see the energetic, like, egregore kind of information, I guess. Like I'm seeing the spirited information, and then I'll correlate it, or do they have any physical body signs as well? This just, you know, exacerbates the initial vision of me seeing their archetype, you might say, of what animal archetype they are pronouncing. And I've got a good video coming up of the guy who has the YouTube channel of the goose. He walks around with his goose in the shop, and he actually has goose energy. And I said organic portals, and this is part of the core theory of organic portals, that organic portals are like new humans. They've done all the experience in that animal group soul, and now they're part of the initial platform or new human stage. Okay, let's move on. On the analogy of the world of computers and programming languages, egregore of a form is a class. Ah, yes. So before I mentioned struct, but yeah, I forgot about class. I'm not like a fantastic programmer, but yeah, that's interesting. That's a good idea. The class, a class of objects is what you'll run into when you do programming. Object-oriented programming and this and that, right? You'll run into a class, and that's a class of objects, like the button class. You put a button on your screen and you press the button. That button might enter you into the website. That's a class object called a button class. And then you have different buttons. While the individual of the given form is an object. Oh yeah, there you go. Is an object of the given class. There you go. I know my stuff. I didn't even read that while I was talking, by the way. Okay. Let's see. This is a good website. I like how he talks. He talks like me in analogies. When it is spoken in the Bible about the creation of animals and people, the definition of classes, egregores of a form, not some individuals, is meant. When it is spoken in the Bible about the creation of animals and people, the definition of classes, egregores of a form, not some individual, is meant. Yes, definitely. Please, religious people, read this as a fantastic note for you guys in relation to how I always say 2D group soul and animal group soul, part of the core theory of organic portals. Oh, interesting. The egregore of a humankind, like our species, is called Adam Kadmon. That in translation from Hebrew means a primordial man. Yes, interesting. It's that energy informational matrix on which the cocoon of the person with all his energy bodies is built. I think, my friends, this is the idea of organic portal as a platform on which the cocoon of the person, yep, with all his energy bodies is built. Yes, this is it. This is it, my friends. You see it? On which the cocoon, like the human body as the cocoon, as an initial stage called organic portal platform, where you jump dimensionally out of, you pop dimensionally out of, with all his energies bodies is built. Later, you see. We've said there is a progression from 2D to 3D to 4D, feeling body to 5th dimensional, telepathic, and so on. That's why I said technically organic portals can be awoken, but you won't do it because you don't have 20 billion years like the universe. It's also why I think it's essentially the organic portal apocalypse, which in some form in some way means we're going to lose these bodies, guys, as well, becoming half machine, maybe totally. Maybe that is total evolution, guys, because probably not. I would expect this platform of complexity to be ongoing, like the humans. So there will be some humans left, while the computers are the next energetic platform where the universe is pushing in all its energy. So, like, the oxygen is running out on Earth. It just depends on the timing. When do we leave Earth? These sort of questions will satisfy whether or not humans exist forever or not. Anyway, so in some way, you see what I said about losing the human body, because it's very relative. The idea of organic portals are only the human body. Anyway, let's not get too far into that tangent. We're going to talk about that in another video one day. An 1.5-hour video. You better like this video, guys. You better press the like button on this one. Come on, 1.5 hours and you can't press 1 second like button? Takes you 1 second. I give you an 1.5 hours of myself. Yes, anyway. Evolution of a form of plants and animals is the accumulation of information in the egregor of the form, collected from all individuals. The things are more, this is like group soul talk. The things are more complicated concerning human. Man as a form has the egregor too. Yeah, this is the thing. Human is more complicated. It's not just an animal. It's like the human is the bridge to animal angel. Right? Many people have come along and said we've got, 1 foot in angeldom and 1 claw still in monkeydom. But that the animals, they're not really like that. Their next step is to human. Like my smart cat Oro here, my really intelligent little spirited cat Oro here in front of me, he will incarnate as a human, maybe next time. Do you understand how this works? It's from 2D group animal soul to basically 3D like human form, right? And on the 4D level, you start to become like a psychic entity. And that's what I'm talking about with these demons, the uploading concept. I'm just going to call it uploading for now. Anyway, yeah, things are more complicated concerning the human level, because we are like human, man of the hue. And I don't know, it's just more complex. I don't want to talk about that right now. Man as a form has the egregor too, on which the human body and consciousness are created at the very first birth. You see? Like when that's a platform of creation, that's what I'm talking about. The 2D group soul of like being a new human organic portal. Now the whole thing with organic portals is that they've all become like corrupted, and it's a virus-like nature, like Agent Smith out of the movie. The illusion of similarity, they love it. And this is a virus form. It's stopping progression. It's a cross-current of consciousness. A cross-current to consciousness, I should say. So this is what they're saying, on which the human body and consciousness are created at the very first birth. So, do you see it? That's the first platform. You like come in as a human body, right? Before that, you might have been a animal consciousness, right? Anyway, so we're just entertaining ideas, but this is how it seems to work to me. And that goes with the original idea, theory of organic portals as these nomenclature of 2D group soul. Other websites say the animal totem. So, I've just read everything and understand it all in different perspectives. In the egregor of a form of the man, the very primitive base consciousness. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is just the organic portal body. The inborn reflexes, yes. The involuntary body, so on. That's why I call it unconscious, because those sense-stored electrical waves are not consciousness itself. Exists, which is directed to the survival, support, and reproduction. Yep, the basic needs, blah, blah, blah. We know all this about the organic portals. The person of the first... This is interesting how this person is now, in their article from Egregores, necessarily having to talk about these ideas that are from the organic portal idea domain. You see it? Like group souling stuff, all this notion is in the background while I'm reading this. You see it? The person on the first cast who incarnates, that's what I mean, the first cast. Maybe they were Oro the cat, now they're the first cast human. They'll have cat-like archetypy. And as a shaman, I see this in you. So if you see that, you're capable of being a shaman, by the way. The person of the first caste who incarnates on the earth for the first time, yes, that's what we're saying, receives exactly this consciousness. The egregor of a human form does not accumulate the information collected from people, because this information is collected in the incarnating soul of each separate person. Okay, let's read that again. The egregor of a human form does not accumulate the information collected from people, because this information is collected in the incarnating soul of each separate person. Thereby, the evolution of man differs from the evolution of animals. Each individual animal does not reincarnate, and so is always born for the first time. That's why animals are so pure in consciousness. And receives consciousness from the egregor of form. Yes, the 2D group soul of that animal totem or that animal soul. So a giraffe or a cat. That group totem, that group soul. Receives consciousness from that egregor of a form or group soul. Yeah, that's why we say, you know, these the animals are like on a concentric consciousness idea layer, not as heightened in consciousness as us. And I mean, this is very obvious, right? They don't sit around having tea parties. They're out hunting all day. It's very basic, very base level. Thus, all evolutionary changes in separate animal individuals are displayed in the egregor of a form, in the group soul. Between the separate animal individuals of one form, there is practically no difference in behavior. Yeah. And that's what we're saying, that the organic portal people are like organic portal human animals only. Sure, we all have some of these tendencies, right? We still have one claw in monkeydom, even if we're reaching into angeldom. But the idea is they're only that. The organic portal is only this animalistic nature. And that's why they go about their lives how they do, in that super crazy competitive fashion, accreting energy into the neurotic nuclear family bloodline, and so on, in very basic daily lives. And there is no higher work, corpus, body of light work done, because an animal doesn't need to do that. Because that's basically the soul, the group soul collects that as, you know, where I would make a magnus opus, the animals, experiences get, uploaded into the cloud of the group soul or central computer of that species. Probably the behavior of foxes or wolves today differs a bit from their ancestors, because the morphogenetic field is genesis, which means, forward motion. It accretes the information and becomes more complex as it goes. So not probably, definitely. Human personality, soul, well, I don't know about putting that there in brackets. Human personality passes the certain way of evolution on the earth, defined with the existing nowadays egregors layer. i.e. set of egregores of various levels in the energy informational field of the Earth. Further, we should talk about, see, in that sense, if you want me to talk about organic portals, they're just like many, many layers down or back from me. Someone like me. An eternal spirit is one who has made it to the end of this universe. Okay? An eternal spirit like me, they say I'm a future identity re-entering timelines. That is correct. I'm an eternal spirit beyond these timelines. I made it to that. It's like escape of the Matrix. I've already done it. You get it? They are only of the Matrix, the organic portal. Further, we shall talk about an origin of these egregores. Oh man, I don't want to talk more on this. Oh man, there's such a lot of scrolling to do. Alright, we're going to leave it there. Yeah, this is a perfect place to leave it too. When we start going to planetary consciousness and stuff. Alright, we're going to do a part 2 of this from this website, because I can see the scroll bar on the right is only halfway down the page, and I do not want to sit here for another 2 hours right now. I need to go eat something and enjoy my day as a human body. Sorry. But I feel like getting outside into the sun. Alright, so please press the like button, share this one, share these big videos, because these are going to change people's lives, I think, these sort of videos, you know. I think we'll be helping a lot of people. So please share it, because then, you know, not only does this video accrete your like, it accretes, you know, maybe 10 other people's likes, your friends who come and view it. And I'm going to be more happy and make more videos for you then. So it's not just giving me energy, you'll get energy back as well, if you're that worried. Right, Benjamin Kaunberg, consciousazine.net, aka Obi Ben Kaunobi Jedi, aka Shaman Walking Crystal.